Well, we've heard a lot today about the power of automation. We've heard about the journey that John just talked about. We've heard Kurt's journey as well. You see RPA contributing or driving digital transformation within organizations?
I'll say from our standpoint is we started looking at it and saying, we want to be a digital bank, digital platform. You look at a lot of the companies out there now that they're having those digital platforms. You look at your customer base too and see where's our customers right now, where do they fall in the generation, and how do you fill the gap? And we've got to get better at technology, and certainly utilizing tools from Blue Prism, looking at what is our digital transformation, what's our roadmap going to be. We need to focus kind of that innovation group, and be the one that's looking at all these different tools. I think for us, taking a look in, RPA is the starting point, but we're going to be quickly adding on.
Most companies are going from 1 to 5, realizing certain benefits, and then saying, okay, now we need to scale, and then stepping back and saying, okay, we need to fix all the other stuff that's in our organization. But what's that trigger point that says, okay, we need to scale?
I'd say for us, it was the moment I hit the button, turned on the first one for the proof of concept, and I did 100 of them in 30 minutes, which would have taken normally about a day. And I think at that point, we just realized, okay, this is a very powerful tool that we're going to need to take this across our platform. The executives, we gave a quick demonstration of that, of how it worked, and I think that's the point. The lights just went wide and said, okay, how many can you get?
For us, the reason it worked is because people would respect us to come in and we try things. Because we're getting smarter with these things, and because of the reusability, once we go in and we've figured out, well, we can only automate this much of a process, we may come back in 3 or 4 months and figure out, now we've actually figured out the code to go ahead and automate the rest of it. And because we've got the experience on so many more of those processes, we don't always have to be running around trying to find the next likely suspect to go in and help them with their efficiency gains or productivity gains, because people will come to us and say, we loved what you did there. Can you guys help us with the rest of it yet?
We're all in a great spot to take advantage of this, but most of the people that are affected by this are not. So that's you don't want to be too dystopian, but that's the reality. We really have to rethink how people evaluate their own selves, their own self-esteem, what work means. Work's going to mean something very different in 5 years. It's not going to define us the way it does today.
It would be very interesting to me to see how many people in your organizations, when you've implemented your automation platform, you've actually displaced because of the automation. And my bet is you're not going to be too dissimilar to what we are. And if you try to extrapolate that out over 5 years, if you look at the average attrition rate in your firms, you're not even close. The proportion is way off the other side of the scale. But until you start fixing the basic premises of you got terrible data that you're dealing with, you're never going to get the automation at any level, under the floor or above the floor, that you're going to be able to take those individuals out of the process.
In the case of the ATMs, for example, that was an original case of automation. The projections were, we're going to wipe out tellers, we're going to wipe out, the banks will be gone. What it did is it lowered the cost of running a branch so much that retail banks were able to open up a lot more branches. So the actual reduction in tellers has been there, but very, very modest compared to the original projections. Eli Whitney's cotton gin was a great example. It lowered the cost of making clothes to such an extent that it created a whole retail industry of design and fashion. And so there's a lot of evidence, if you want to make the case, that this is all going to work out great, that we're going to have these empowered, more highly skilled individuals that are going to be so creative. They're going to be putting new businesses and business models out in social media, and we're going to move to this ultimate cottage industry of very happy people.